Miraculous has its fair share of controversial characters. Honestly, it's hard to think of any that don't have any controversy, but there is none such on the level as Chloe Bourgeois. She's just your typical mean girl who seems like she has potential, until she doesn't. The biggest argument obviously being whether she was worthy of a redemption arc. I myself sit in the middle and don't see a problem with either path. My problem is the execution of the path they took. It's an inconsistent mess and other characters seem to get better treatment than her, just because. So sit back and get ready to stab your eyes out with forks because this one is gonna be a bit annoying. So, as I said in the intro, Season 1 Chloe is just the stereotypical mean girl. A lot of the time she doesn't even seem to be on completely bad terms with the other characters. She obviously mistreats everyone around her, but it's with the mindset of everyone adores me. I imagine she just thinks everyone enjoys her presence even if she's acting the way she does. Which, to be fair, is probably how she thinks the world works because she knows firsthand the way her mother acts. But because she rarely sees her, all she's really seeing are these magazines and news articles about how everyone loves her. She's the queen of fashion. And then Chloe has her little lapdog Sabrina, who in Season 1 was kinda just using Chloe. Chloe was kinda just bribing her with expensive items to do her homework, and Sabrina was complicit. They do have a few episodes that show they have a deeper connection than this bribery back and forth deal, but then later they have a couple retcons to make it seem like Chloe is holding Sabrina hostage instead of a two-way toxic friendship. Like, instead of Chloe bribing Sabrina to do her homework, Chloe would lock Sabrina in her closet without any sunlight until the homework was done. I mean, their friendship may not have been the most healthy, but it was clear they cared for each other on some sort of level, especially with Marinette saying they'll always be BFFs in their own way. Season 2 does double down and make Chloe a bit worse, but it's only so they can make the moments where she does try all the more powerful, so we do see more of her human side, but the bratty mean girl doubles down. She does still often say everyone adores her, but they do seem to drop that aspect a little, and she's more of a traditional bully, like she's full ruining people's stuff and laughing about it. She just does not care. Which obviously in turn, now all the other characters do just see her as a bully, but that's what they're going for at this point. And it's not too far removed. Someone who is being mean because they think everyone adores them is probably going to fall down a path of being an actual bully pretty quick. But yeah, due to this change, you're less likely to see Chloe actually hanging around with the main cast. If she's around, she's normally the bully. There is the one time where she tries to be nice and invites everyone to a party, and she struggles, but she's trying. But still, for a superficial reason, she doesn't want to lose Adrian, so she doesn't care about anyone else. Once Chloe's mother is actually introduced, we do get a feel for why Chloe might be the way she is. Both of her parents are bad influences. You've got the one who she barely sees, but when she does see her, she's mistreated. But all she sees is this famous woman who everyone adores. And then you've got the parent who can't say no, so she's never learned to take the answer no. And because she's rich, she's spoiled as hell. So far throughout the series, Chloe has idolized Ladybug after being saved by her. So when she finds the bee Miraculous, she sees this as an opportunity to get validation from somebody she idolizes that isn't going to mistreat her. Unfortunately, due to Chloe's personality, she doesn't wait for anything to happen. She is a get results kind of person, so she creates a situation to fix herself. Ladybug obviously realizes this is not the kind of hero she needs and tries to take the Miraculous back, but Chloe winds up getting akumatized. They battle and they have a discussion with her and everything seems nice. Chloe is apologizing and stuff. She ends up giving the Miraculous back on her own. I mean, she still had to be asked and go through a lot of stuff, but she did it. Marinette ends up comforting Chloe and helps her patch things up with her mother by helping them realize how similar they actually are. The way Chloe achieves this is by admitting she uses Sabrina, even though at this point it's still kind of a two-way thing. Like, I'd argue more that Sabrina is using Chloe. Chloe is basically bribing someone to be her friend. There's obviously other perks like getting her to do your homework, but I doubt Sabrina would still be her friend if there was no bribes. Chloe does finally get validation from her mother for being just like her, but Chloe doesn't look too pleased. She didn't get to go to New York in the end, so maybe that's why, but I feel like it's something to do with she knows her mother's a bad person now. But from here on out, Marinette thinks giving her the Miraculous could make her a better Chloe, because she's seemingly making an effort, like in episodes like Maledictator, where she admitted her faults and felt very sorry. The fandom has said this was just her making stuff up to get the Be Miraculous back, but at this point she never thought she was getting it back. Like, she was still bragging about how she was a superhero, but she was told she wasn't getting it back. She was never even originally picked by Ladybug, so how would she assume that she was going to get it back? Now, if this was season 3 where they were playing around with her character in such ways, I might believe it. Season 3 is very back and forth on what it wants to do, but establishes wanting to avoid giving Chloe the Be Miraculous so villains can't trap the heroes. So a lot of episodes have the heroes coming up with excuses for why Chloe can't help. She does decide to take matters into her own hands and tries to trap Nakuma in Star Train, but due to it being Chloe, everyone just assumes she's lying. Other passengers who saw it try to back her up, but everyone's just like, what a lying little cow. Things obviously go wrong because you can't just trap it so easily, but there was a clear effort. Things all come to a head in Miraculous, where Marinette finally decides to tell Chloe that she can't be Queen Bee anymore. Marinette feels bad and acknowledges Chloe worked pretty hard. Chloe clearly doesn't understand and keeps saying, I will be Queen Bee again. And Ladybug literally says, thank you Chloe, which would obviously lead her to think that she will be Queen Bee again. And she never returns to say, there may have been a little bit of miscommunication, so Chloe keeps begging to be Queen Bee and the heroes have to keep making up random excuses. This all culminates with Hawkmoth manipulating Chloe into thinking Ladybug doesn't trust her, so of course she gets akumatized again. After being saved, Chloe wears too many Miraculous and renounces Ladybug, which I would assume she broke her mind from wearing too many. People will point to her not transforming with them as proof as to why she didn't break her mind. But my rebuttal to that is when Marinette was only transformed with one and was wearing a lot, she was clearly affected pretty easily. It did seem to be more of a physical pain, but even then they like to say Marinette is the strongest holder ever, so if Marinette can't handle it, I'd assume Chloe couldn't either. In the following seasons, Chloe gets worse and worse. I assume this is some ploy by the writers to try and turn everyone against her, but Chloe starts saying she's gone soft ever since she was a superhero, despite her being at her worst. I mean, the literal episode she claims she had gone soft is the same episode she wants to put roaches in Marinette's locker, which according to a retcon is one of the worst things she had ever done. I mean, this Chloe takes joy in others' suffering. You cannot tell me this is Chloe going soft when it's much worse than she ever was. Weirdly, they don't completely drop her character, since they show Lila manipulating Chloe, which mostly comes down to them both hating the same people, but there's a couple times you see Lila tell Chloe she did a good job and you can see Chloe is really happy, which this is validation from Lila, someone who she thinks is brilliant, so if it's someone she looks up to and she's getting validation, it would make more sense on why she'd be a little evil, other than ha ha ha, I enjoy people suffering. So yeah, Chloe had a rough and inconsistent arc, which Thomas claims was always the plan and it was basically planned as rage bait. Which, if the plan was purposefully to write inconsistently, good job I guess, he recently came out and said the more people advocate for Chloe, the worse he makes her. Which is kind of funny, because as I said, I don't really have a preference on what path they take her, I would just prefer that path come across naturally other than, oh you said you like her, so I'm gonna make her 100 times worse. There's nothing wrong with having a character who doesn't want to change, but they should at least be framed that way. Take Bluebird from Steven Universe as an example. There's clearly something off about them and Steven eventually decides to trust them, and the second he lets his guard down, the rug gets ripped out from under him, which if you watch the episode, it's very obvious Bluebird was only pretending to be nice. But if you watch Chloe, there's episodes she's trying, episodes she's mean, episodes she's just flat out evil, and until season 4, it's never really consistent on what she'll be. Season 4 is when they finally decided just to make her flat out evil, but even then, it doesn't really feel natural. Like in season 3, there's episodes where she's like, I would never betray Ladybug, and then other episodes where you think to yourself, okay, maybe depending on what happens she could. But then in the penultimate episode of season 3, she's literally protecting Sabrina from Akumas, not scared to get attacked herself. But in season 4, she'd probably use Sabrina as a shield or get willingly akumatized herself. You can't look me in the eye and tell me this is the same character. I mean, maybe if she evolved naturally into this state, but it kind of just happens, which is kind of a problem with most of the show. I mean, I hear people use this argument all the time for other shows, like, so a natural show would be A happens, so B happens, but Miraculous is more like A happens and then B happens instead of a natural path. As previously mentioned, Sabrina got retconned into being someone Chloe bullied into being friends with her, and she only went on with it because she thought Chloe might change eventually, whereas if you watch season 1, Sabrina actually looks worse by comparison, so they had to flip the script. Which is the problem. It feels like other characters are being let off easy or being retconned into a redemption, as previously mentioned Sabrina, but we also have Felix, who made all of humanity disappear, then we saw him cry once, he's an anti-hero for one episode, and then boom, he's on the hero team. Maybe there's more drama to be had with him, but it feels weird for the heroes just to accept him. Thomas seems to mention about how Felix changed, whereas Chloe could not, but we saw way more potential with Chloe. We literally saw Felix cry once. Sure, it's implied he was never a bad guy, but I doubt anyone would forgive him that easily. Then we have Andre, partially responsible for Chloe's creation, which he acknowledges, but it feels like acknowledging it just lets him free and he sends her off with Audrey, who is also inconsistent, but Chloe is definitely not in good hands with her. It's probably gonna go from episodes where she fears Chloe to episodes where she's happy to have a mini-me, and episodes where she acts like Gabriel, but that's probably what the writers want. See, it sucks. Chloe could have worked as a villain, but she's literally just comic relief that they want to be the main source of pain throughout the series, so we end up with this shell. Which sucks, you had a character brimming with potential to go either way, but then you kind of just throw her around to whatever she'll fit into that episode, and then eventually just make her evil with no real reason. I'm happy with the role she's playing so far in season 6, and hope they barely touch her. She's got her celebrity status, still clearly isn't a good person. It could be a great parallel, so they need to just not touch her, keep her in the role she's got now. Bring her back to Paris if they want, but don't make her go flat out supervillain, because that's just going to be annoying. We've got Lila in that role, and even though she was kind of a mess, it is working for season 6. Just don't touch her. Anyway, yeah, I don't know how people are going to respond to this video anyway, because usually a person takes a side and the other side attacks them. If I'm in the middle, I don't know what's going to happen. But I guess I'll post this and we'll find out. Don't forget to like and subscribe before you throw a brick at my house.